Habsburg Madrid is a section of the historic center of Madrid, which is closely linked to the cultural identity of the Spanish capital. It is far removed from the image of traffic jams, bustle, and honking horns many people have of Madrid. Even so, it could be argued that Habsburg Madrid is the real Madrid and the most traditional. Unlike other European capitals, Madrid never looked imperial, even though it was once the capital of the most important empire in the world. Rather, it resembled a very big village, a large-scale version of the true Castile. Before we put our backpacks on and start our walk, please briefly take a seat and listen to the following introductory information, which will help you better appreciate our chronological journey through Habsburg Madrid. It should be remembered that this name applies to the part of the city built under the reign of the House of Habsburg, which originated from Austria. This video tour will thus follow a chronological order, beginning with the first of the Habsburgs, Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, commonly referred to in Spain as Charles I and crowned in 1516, and continuing with Philip II, Philip III and Philip IV, before ending with the last king of the Habsburg dynasty, Charles II, who died in 1700. Charles I inherited many territories, which at the time comprised the biggest empire in existence. This included Castile, Aragon and Navarre, as well as all the colonies that has just been conquered in America, and the Holy Roman Empire, a mixed bag of kingdoms from Central and Western Europe. In 1516, Charles I was therefore one of the most powerful people in the world. At that time, the capital of Spain was still Toledo. Madrid was a secondary city with roughly 10,000 inhabitants. But Charles I fell in love with Madrid and granted the city the title of Imperial and Crown. He also chose the city as the residence of his son, who would become King Philip II. The old Alcázar, a castle formerly located at the site of the current royal palace, was his home. Although Charles I traveled constantly, both abroad and to cities such as Granada or Valladolid, there were two reasons he loved long stays in Madrid. The first was for his health, although it may seem odd today, at the time Madrid's surroundings were very conducive to good health. The second, and likely most pressing, was to enjoy hunting, his favorite hobby, as Madrid was surrounded by woods containing diverse wildlife. Madrid is fortunate enough to retain most of this wooded area, which today forms the Casa de Campo, Dehesa de la Villa and the Pardo Mountain. Right, are you ready yet? Finish your tortilla sandwich, get out your map, and search for the corner of Calle del Sacramento and Calle del Rollo. See you there. We are at the Casa de Cisneros, built in 1537. Its construction was commissioned by the nephew of Cardinal Cisneros, an important religious and political figure of the time. It is a Plateresque building. This is a unique style which developed only in Spain, and is seen in the building's decorative features. Its main structure remains a Renaissance. It gets its name from the Spanish word for silver, plata, because it looks like pieces designed by a silversmith. It is apparent in the presence of medallions, pinnacles, chandeliers, chains, and a variety of other embellishments. Two good examples of the style are the facades of the universities of Alcalá de Henares and Salamanca. It is true that the Casa de Cisneros is Plateresque, but it must be said that it is not as pure an example of the genre as other that we have come across. It is more unrefined, although the word unrefined is not meant as criticism. Plateresque traits are evident in the decoration of the second floor balcony. There we see a family coat of arms in a pediment flanked by two columns, and just below that is another band of decorated reliefs. In contrast, the main gate is below a sturdy ashlar masonry arch that gives the entire building a medieval look far removed from Renaissance classicism. Another important feature of the building is the two-tone effect, or rather the presence of two main colors, red brick and grey granite blocks. Brick use is common due to its low cost, and granite is used because it is found in abundance in the nearby Sierra de Guadarrama. Our next stop is Plaza de la Paja, where we will enter a setting more rural than urban, and discover one of the Habsburg Madrid lesser-known gems.
Nos encontramos
We find in Plaza de la Paja, one of the most beautiful places in Madrid, with the steep slope of the land where children often play, the peace and quiet and the benches and restaurant patios. You might think you were in some anonymous Spanish village, rather than a city over 3 million inhabitants. The Plaza de la Paja was Madrid's main square during the Middle Ages and was so named because it was where hay, paja, for Madrid mules, in addition to other products, was sold. As you can imagine, it was very popular and crowded square bustling with life. In the 15th century, the square began to change. Some castles were built by members of the nobility, such as the Lasso de Castilla, where the Catholic monarchs used to stay when they were in Madrid. Another important residence near the square was the Casa de los Vargas. The Vargas family was one of the most prestigious in Madrid. Inside the house worked one of the Madrid's most illustrious figures, Isidro de Merlo y Quintana, known as the Isidore the Laborer. It was in this house where the jewel in the crown of the Spanish Renaissance was built, the Bishop's Chapel. The chapel was constructed in the early 16th century to house Isidore's remains and honor him as the people of Madrid demanded. At the time, Isidore had not yet been beatified. It is called the Bishop's Chapel because one of its commissioners, Don Gutiérrez de Carvajal y Vargas, was the Bishop of Plasencia, in the south of Spain. It held the remains of San Isidro until 1544, when they were moved to the adjacent church, San Andrés. As I mentioned before, the building is Renaissance in style, although it has no traditional features. Its exterior shows none of the two-tone red and grey seen in the Casa de Cisneros. The whole construction is made of granite. There are also none of the plateresque decorative features seen in other buildings from the same period. Rather, it has shares some elements with Spanish Renaissance buildings located outside Madrid. For example, the use of carpanel, three-centered arcs. We won't be stopping in the chapel, but a visit is highly recommendable.